Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to part 2 of the DIY lights and cap for your aquarium. Today we'll be focusing in on the 12-gallon tank. I have glued successfully the 3 pieces of plastic that we cut in the last video. You can check out the link right over here. These 3 pieces of plastic were actually quite easy to glue. All I had to do was take the main one over here, take my silicone gun right here. This is a normal caulk gun, and then you just buy a tube of silicone. This one cost me around $7 to $8. Totally worth it. Got to seal up a 12-gallon tank. Again, video link right there. And not only sealing up a 12-gallon tank, I used some silicone for this project to gluing these 3 pieces of plastic together to form a light hood. And the silicone over here, if we could open it up, you could see that it's down here. So it's only about, out of the 10 ounces in here, I've only used about, I would say, maybe 2 to 3. So today we'll be gluing in the lights over here. So guys, you guys can see with these lights we have to use some logic while gluing them over here. We have to make sure that we glue them in correctly and that these switches are still accessible. And that after we glue them in with the silicone, we'll be able to not only access the switches but connect the wires correctly. So here I'm going to unplug these 2 wires, and remember that they plug in this way into these 2 over here. And then this is the main wire and it plugs in that way. I'll be spray painting these black. So after we unplug it, we have to make sure that we keep the lights like this. Don't mix them up or anything like this, or else the wires won't plug in correctly and you'll have a mess because you won't be able to access your switches either. So now that we're done with the logic part of the video, we can actually set up the caulk gun for the silicone. Now what you're going to want to do is to open this little pointy thing at the end of your caulk gun. I'm using over here an HDX brand caulk gun. Really any gun will work. And then this silicone tube is used, but I did not want to throw it away because it still has a ton of silicone in it. And you can see that the tip has basically dried up. So what we're going to do, you want to keep the cap always when you get the bottle. What we're going to do is to just take this pointy thing and just poke it in there, and when you take it out, it'll be covered in silicone. That means that you have made a successful break in the seal and that your bottle is ready to use. Now this is just an extra piece of wood. I'll just wipe off the silicone on it. I don't care about being very clean with this project. I mean, it's just silicone. It doesn't matter much. So now we're going to have to determine where we're going to put in the lights. I want to put them in like this so that the switches are still accessible. So after you kind of plan it out right there, you're going to take the caulk gun and then just start putting the glue into place. So what I'm going to do after I measured it out is to just take it out and just put little dabs of silicone all over the place. Like one there, one there, one there, and one there. And just make sure it's about the length of the light. Don't want to overdo this at all. So for the other light, I'm just going to put one on each end. Because if you overdo this, you'll have a lot of trouble trying to get the lights off. And I'm going to smudge it with my finger in the middle, because I want a very thin seal in the middle just to hold it on. So then I'm going to take the lights just one by one and drop them in on that silicone. Like I said, be very, very careful with it. Don't put it too close to the edge either, because you do want access to those switches on your lights. Don't want to seal off the light switches, because then you will not be able to adjust how much lighting actually goes into your